Hey everyone, so we're on day 28 of Hormone Bootcamp, basically done with week 4, and week 5 is really kind of like the final runway. I mean, everything that we are doing in this program is basically designed to prepare you for week number 6. So I want to talk a little bit about what to expect for week number 5, things to look out for, and basically and I guess really help you prepare, because week number 6, like I said, everything that we're doing up until week 6 is just training and preparation for week 6. So for week number 5, we're going to be introducing adaptogenic herbs and Ayurvedic herbs. Couple of things with that. I posted a link to a blog post and a video, and this is primarily for anyone who is not in North America or South America. I know I got some people in Europe and India and other places watching, going through the program. I don't know, how you're going to go about sourcing adaptogenic herbs and Ayurvedic herbs. You may have access to similar products, maybe even better, especially India with Ayurvedic herbs. But anyway, so the video that I posted is on, understanding how to test for purity and potency of adaptogenic herbs. So I recommend you watch that video. All right, so basically what's going to be happening, week number 5, Ayurvedic herbs, adaptogenic herbs, they're very cleansing, okay? And so the way that I think of this phase is essentially what I did over the weekend, just in like a little bit more spread out fashion. And for me, basically the way that I think of, this process is I'm essentially cleaning my body, right, from the inside out. And that's why I do fasting. So, for week number 4, if you've been doing intermittent fasting, that's essentially emptying out your digestive tract. And here's a lesson that I learned, when I was brewing beer, that I want to pass on to you, because this is basically the same approach that I am using for my body, which is, one of the most important things in brewing beer is basically cleaning and sanitizing. Like, all equipment, everything needs to be cleaned and sanitized. And that's essentially how I think of the body, especially your digestive tract, is that everything needs to be cleaned and sanitized. Now, here's a rule of thumb. You cannot sanitize something that is not clean. So most of the effort when it came to brewing was actually in cleaning, because if you didn't clean up right, then you couldn't sanitize. And so this is why I had my allergic reaction over the week, and basically started doing a water fast. And the whole purpose of water fasting was to empty out my digestive tract, my entire gut, and basically clean it out. So it's just basically I was just throwing a lot of water down the hatch, I guess, if you will. And that's all I was like doing in my head, is I'm just cleaning out my digestive tract. And so if you are following, basically the process that I use is basically, wake up first thing in the morning is I hydrate, and then I will drink my green juice, and I will do intermittent fasting at least up until noon. So if you are following that process, what I want you to think about, what's really happening is that, if your last meal is at like 6 p.m., 7 p.m., by the time you wake up, you drink water. That's essentially getting stuff out of you. And by drinking green juice and not adding more food, you're essentially your body's essentially clean. Like you're emptying out food. And it is in that state when you're fasting and your gut is for the most part empty, that's when you can actually go in and clean. And so that's where Ayurvedic herbs kind of like kick in for me. And so for me, I like to take these adaptogens and or Ayurvedic herbs maybe like an hour to half an hour before I actually have my first meal. That way, as I take the Ayurvedic herbs, I think of these kind of like throwing soap down you, and basically these are like cleansers. They just go in and they clean. But they do a lot more than that, because they also have a lot of nutrition, and you're going to see it. So anyone that's watched the video on water, you're going to understand the potency and purity test for adaptogenic herbs, where you're essentially looking for conductivity in these herbs. So what you should be looking at, I guess, between week 4, we're at the end of week 4, and now we're moving into week 5. So week 4, if you've been doing intermittent fasting, drinking the green juice, and then taking the probiotics, you should be noticing an improvement in digestion. And that is key because week number 6, in order for the foods that I share, which, if you've seen my video where I share the recipe that I use to produce hormones, in order for that to work, you need to be able to digest food, right? So if you cannot get your body to digest food properly, that was my, one of my biggest issues. I was not digesting proteins, or fats, or, I guess I was eating too much sugar. And that's where I ended up with yeast overgrowth. But it was that digestive issue, right? With yeast overgrowth, you usually end up having digestive issues. And so if you don't take care of that prior to week 6, then basically what I would do is repeat the entire process all over again. And you don't have to do like a full 6 weeks, but maybe do like, a few days of, hydrating, a few days of, really paying attention to the, your vitamin D levels, your nutrient depletions, and most importantly, fasting and Ayurvedic herbs. You're just cleaning stuff out. That's really what you're doing. So for week number 5, what you're going to notice as you begin to take, adaptogenic herbs and Ayurvedic herbs is, number 1, you're probably going to notice even more energy, right? And you're probably going to start to understand why. And it's because a lot of these herbs are just jam-packed full of minerals. So they will increase conductivity. And I think with adaptogenic herbs and Ayurvedic herbs, like some of these herbs are very potent as far as cleansing goes. So you may experience a bit of that initial detox, and that's why I build out on week 4 like that intermittent fasting. So right now, by the end of week 4, everyone should be doing intermittent fasting at least 1 to 3 hours, preferably 6 hours. But by the end of week 5, you should be able to do 6 hours of intermittent fasting, because that's really a good sign that your body is demineralized or mineralized. And not only that, but improving digestion, to me, one of the things, I guess, that I think of when it comes to improving digestion is that by reducing the amount of yeast overgrowth that I had, yeast overgrowth is really what I believe inhibits digestion, at least is one of the things. And so by me being able to do intermittent fasting, the fact that you're not getting hungry, the fact that you're not getting sugar cravings, the fact that your digestive system is basically improving, to me, that's kind of like a sign that that yeast overgrowth is starting to basically go down to levels to where now you can actually go back into some of these other food groups. So that's basically the bulk of it. So I'm excited, like I said, for week 5. Week 5 really is where you want to put all of your effort in. So if you've not done something, whether you missed on the vitamin D or anything else, week 5 is where this is your chance to catch up. Like, this is really the 1 week that you want to pay attention to everything. And in boot camp, it's kind of like that 1 week before you go into battle stations, which is like the final test where you actually get to graduate. And that's the thing with this program. Just because you learn the information, it doesn't mean that you're going to produce hormones. You have to actually apply the information and get the results. And I'm just sharing everything that I can. Like, I really am trying to like give you everything that I've got. So, the more you talk to me, especially during this week, let me know how you are doing. Everyone that's participating, reach out to me. Let me know what you're doing. I'll be reaching out to some of you, but just let me know like where you're at, what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, because I wanna make this program better for you. And the only way that I can, really do that is to get feedback. I really hope that you guys are enjoying everything that I've shared so far. And that's it. This week, look for your digestive performance more than anything, and just get ready, because once we get to week 6, I mean, your work is really going to show. I mean, I'm doing this. Anyone who's following, I know there's a lot of people who are just watching and not really doing anything. And then you're going to get to week 6 and you may try to do what we're doing in week 6. But if you haven't done this work, I'm telling you, it's just probably not going to work for you. So that's pretty much it for now. Again, watch that video, on adaptogenic herbs, so that you understand, what's really going on, and expect that you're going to basically be detoxing more than anything. And as the week progresses, it should get easier and easier to do intermittent fasting, and just set that goal that by the end of the week, you're going to be able to do at least 6 hours of intermittent fasting. The other thing that will help you out is going back to your diet. So you should still be documenting what you are eating and making improvements on your diet. I have the link on that thyroid diet program. And remember, the way that I wrote that is starting from top. It's kind of like where a lot of people start out, and the further down you go, basically the easier it is to digest those foods. And so changing out your foods is another way to improve digestion, right? It's just basically eating foods that are easier to digest. And so even if you're just like towards the intermediate phase where you start to add more fermented foods into your diet, that's a good phase to be. So you don't have to go all the way down to where, to where I'm at, but if you can just get to that point where you're at least adding fermented foods into your diet, because that's adding probiotics into your diet, that should really get you to a point where you should be ready for week number 6. So that's all that I've got for today. Hope everyone is having an amazing weekend, and I hope everyone enjoys the rest of your weekend. I see I got a few people here watching. Lisa, hi Lisa, Andrew, Carolina, and Ina. Glad to see you guys here. Guys, reach out to me, let me know how you're doing, and that's it. I'll talk to you guys during the week. Talk to you later.